Hello and welcome to episode 119 of Tech a Break with me, Andy. No Adam, just me, Andy, on his own yet again. Adam the slacker. Anyway, I am super excited to welcome two lovely guest. Nah, I love you really, Howard.
Thank you.
Lovely guests. Would you mind introducing yourself and where you come from?
Yes, I'm Jen Jarvie and I'm the owner and founder of the Detective Rooms.
And
I'm Howard Little. I'm the slave of the detective rooms.
hang on, you're usually with the FSB.
Well, yes, I am sort of still ad hoc with the FSB.
Right.
I still have access to all the stuff. I can
Good.
still sign people up,
Yes.
give advice, but I'm working with Jen now.
So this obviously took a little bit more interest.
Yeah, so Howard,
Right.
Howard is the operations manager. Let's give him his proper title. He's the operations manager, dog's body, slave.
Slave.
Everything that goes along with it. Tea maker, coffee maker, biscuit provider.
Builder.
Builder.
Decorator.
Decorator. Well, I can't think of a better person to
Exactly.
Exactly. Howard.
Multitasker.
Well done you. So, welcome. So,
you.
the detective rooms. What is it all about?
Well, have you ever been to an escape room?
I have.
Lovely. It's nothing like that at all.
Okay, then we're fine.
Right.
Thank you for that.
So-
Welcome. Goodbye. See you later, everybody.
What it is you and 5 of your friends or colleagues or workmates or family
Right.
go into one of our 3 crime scene rooms, our immersive crime scene rooms, and basically you become the detectives, and over a 2-hour period you solve the crime. So you become Vera, you become Sherlock Holmes.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
And we do that
What?
with, we give you the pathology reports, we give you the crime scene photos, we give you the witness statements. So it's unlike an escape room in that we're not putting pipes together here. We're using our thoughts, our critical thinking, communication skills, and basically you become the detective and you solve a crime.
Wow. So that's pretty unique, I would have said. I'm not sure I've come across anything like that before.
There isn't.
Right.
This is a unique concept, and as we consider it to be the next generation of escape rooms.
Right.
So
okay.
this is where you have to communicate, you have to talk to each other, you've got to use your logic skills, and you know, think outside the box in one of our 3 rooms, which are all 3 rooms completely different. So
Right. So according to my investigation, you have a vintage train, the space station, and the Cobra Traitor thriller room.
yes, so
I've done my homework.
I'm glad.
Absolutely.
We've got basically Murder on the 130 from Plymouth, which is a 1930s style train carriage where you go in with your fellow detectives and you solve a cold case from 1930.
Right.
And it's all immersive, and you've got a Pathé sort of radio broadcast beforehand, and we feed you this information over the 2 hours. The space station, obviously, as it sounds, is futuristic. So you go into space.
Yeah.
You arrive at the space station and you're there as an investigation team because there's been a murder on board the Odyssey.
Wow.
Yeah. So a self-contained unit, and it's all very futuristic. We've got a vlog, which Howard absolutely loves this dog. He absolutely loves this dog. This robot dog that we've got.
Yeah.
The Cobra room, totally different. This is a room that can be also used as a boardroom.
Right.
So, but with this one, you and your team go in and discover who the traitor in the government is. I know. It's hard to believe that there is one.
I could name quite a few.
Yeah. It's all apolitical. Don't worry. So you find out who the traitor is in the government. You prevent World War III. I coined that, not Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
And and there's a couple of murders on the way.
Oh, my
so
goodness me.
yeah, so that one is more of a corporate team building, leadership experience where again you're in there for 2 hours and we give you the pathology reports and the intelligence reports, and we come in at all different intervals all the way through the 2 hours, and you'll love it.
I'm sold already. So where is this? I believe Durham.
Yeah.
Durham.
Up at the Belmont Industrial Estate.
All right. Okay. Then. So
On your way to the post office, the big sorting office in Durham, you pass us.
Absolutely. Let's see.
And our what 3 words? This is absolutely fantastic. Our what 3 words?
What 3
Well, Jen
words?
went through the map on the
Yeah.
What 3 Words app, looking at every single one of the squares.
Yes.
And then right in the middle of the car park,
Yep,
pretty much.
Right near the door. It's
Detective, shield, motive.
No.
it is.
It was
is.
meant to be.
It was meant to be, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Oh, my goodness me. Well, that's fantastic. And I think if Sherlock had a studio, Durham would where it would be, in your boardroom.
Elementary.
Elementary, my dear Watson. Well, that's fantastic. So let's go back to the spark. Why detective immersion and why now? What made you crawl out of the hole and went, I know what I'm going to do?
What made me crawl out of that hole, Howard? Please tell me. I am still a private detective. And have been for about 15 years.
Wow. Okay.
So alongside the detective rooms, we also still run the Crime Institute, which is my private investigations business, from the same building. So we have a bit of fact and a bit of fiction. Alongside that, it emerged basically because I was creating scenarios for students, for professional policing students who I was teaching, again, taught for 10 years. And it emerged that I was going to them with mobile laboratories, mobile crime scenes. Howard and I have done it, obviously, and it's great, but we can only do one at once, and it doesn't have the same immersive experience.
No.
So we said, you know what? People can come to us, and we will give them the most amazing experience and immersion into, becoming Vera, becoming Poirot,
Absolutely fantastic from that point of view. Oh, I mean, absolutely amazing. And obviously, when you do that, what itch were you trying to scratch in terms of that detective? Because obviously, it's true life for you, but why force it on the rest of us in the nicest possible way? But why do that? Because I also think everybody loves a bit of a mystery.
Everybody does. True crime is a huge industry.
It is.
It doesn't matter whether it's podcasts or right the way through to books or dramas or, actually, reenacting things, in theatres and things like that. This was our chance to basically give that immersive experience, give people a chance to actually go out with their family, friends, colleagues and talk.
Yes.
You can't solve these with an iPad.
No.
You can't solve these with a phone, a smartphone or not. You can't. You actually have to immerse yourself in it and spend some time talking and debating and really looking through the clues that we give you and the red herrings as well.
Yes.
And it's about having that immersive experience where you can lose yourself for a couple of hours, and you're not going to the cinema where you don't talk to each other. You're not going out for dinner where Uncle Jimmy, who's sitting at the end of the table, you can't speak to him because he's too far away.
Yeah.
This is where you actually immerse yourself and, you lose yourself for a couple of hours. And the information that we give you over those 2 hours is just, fast-paced, and it's adrenaline rush inducing. And it's also, immersing yourself in something that is a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it's getting away from it all, isn't it? It's getting away from the day-to-day toil and actually going, do you know what? I'm going to immerse myself, lose myself for a few hours in a hypothetical situation. But you can do that. That's why people watch movies, to get away from it.
Absolutely. And if you can imagine, when you have an office where since COVID, people have been working remotely, they haven't been in the office, you could have a co-worker who you've worked with for 2 years and never actually met.
No.
You could have somebody who's happy to work on reception, is loving their job, but actually has such potential leadership skills that this will actually bring that out. And you can actually turn around and say, right, okay, let's think outside the box with the solution to this crime. Get back to the office. A client rings and says, actually, we've got a problem, whether it's a marketing company, whether it's, a plumbing company, whatever it is. You then have already opened that door for your team to think outside the box, to suggest ridiculous suggestions that might lead to a real solution for the business. So it's kind of tenfold.
Absolutely. I can imagine somebody ringing up saying, I've got a delivery problem, and then somebody going, the butler did it. Right, next, move on. Okay, maybe not. Howard, what's interesting for me, my friend, is obviously we know each other through the FSB. That has been your lifelong passion and obviously still is, my friend. But what was it that attracted you to sort of like, oh, I'm going to sort of like go into business with Jen?
Well, I worked for the FSB for 9.5 years.
Goodness me, you're not that old, surely.
Well, yeah, unfortunately I am. But prior to that, I started as a photographer with the Royal Air Force.
Yes, I remember you telling me that last time.
And then I moved to Grampian Police and was a forensic photographer.
Yes.
And then ended up doing 10 years of expert witness, forensic expert witness record.
Right, excellent.
So that was what sort of, I met Jen at a networking event. Well, I saw a talk first at a one in Wynyard.
Right.
And she was telling us all these stories. and I just said to her, I've got the same stories.
Yes.
From what I've done in the past.
Yeah.
And then we got sort of talking about what her dream was, which was the detective rooms. And then she asked for a meeting with me because she wanted to ask me a question. But to do that, she actually joined the FSB.
I had to do that. Literally, it was the only way I could think of, because I thought, if he doesn't want to work with me, it's going to be quite embarrassing. And so I thought, right, okay, well, I'll join the FSB.
Yes.
And then I've got his captive audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And she was telling me about the detective rooms. And I just said, oh, I'd love to be part of that. And she said,
I didn't know how to ask you.
That is brilliant, Jen. So actually, you just led him down the path.
I did.
Yeah,
I totally manipulated him.
I followed like a little puppy.
Well,
And he's still doing that.
he's still doing that. Yeah, exactly. But it does sound exciting, though. Howard,
Oh,
to be
it's
fair.
amazing. We've had some people in recently, and I took a lot of photographs while we were there.
Right.
And we couldn't use them because they looked so bored. But they weren't bored. They were just intensely thinking.
Yeah.
And sat around this table with all these suspect photographs and witness statements. And they were just, they weren't smiling because they were just so serious.
They were so engrossed in it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's the word I was thinking of.
But they loved it. They absolutely loved it. And, 2 hours goes like
God,
that.
yeah, I can imagine it does.
To put it into perspective, none of them went to the toilet.
Wow.
That's a point.
That is the point.
Yeah.
They literally, they were so immersed in it that, and it was brilliant to see, because the way that we run these is, it's a bit of a tag team.
Right.
It's sort of like a good cop, bad cop, which is brilliant. And, we give them information. And if they're sort of getting too close to the mark, we will steer them. And, we'll just give them this, random thing.
Well, we had in that one, we had a case where what happened was it was the railway room, and there's some lost property area, and there's some old cases there. And one of the old cases was from my wife. She'd bought it at a charity shop with this in mind, but she'd been storing some stuff in it. Anyway, I took the case, put it in the lost property area, didn't check to see if it was empty. But they checked, and there was some wool in it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they went off on a complete different tangent, and it had we had to make it up.
Yeah,
didn't we?
we sort of add to this immersion with it. But that's a lovely thing that they can actually ferret through the crime scene. That's the whole point of it. They can sort of look at UV lights of blood spatter. They can come up with all of these different theories, and it's not off limits to look for.
No, of course not.
And the lovely thing, and one of the things that was really, really important to both of us when we kind of were designing and building, obviously the rooms themselves, was that they had to be accessible.
Right.
Because every other escape room, which is the only thing we can liken it to, is always up a huge flight of stairs, really cramped, and we wanted it to be accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
And so, this is wheelchair friendly, and look, there's not that claustrophobic feeling of an escape room.
I must admit, the escape room that I was in, I had to climb 4 flights of stairs to get it. It was a very small corridor to get in.
Yeah.
And whilst the room was big, you did feel a little bit closed in.
Well, a lot of them are in high streets above shops and
Yes.
things like that. So,
Yeah.
But with this one, it's a bit different.
It's definitely a bit different. No, exactly.
We love it.
No, absolutely. So, in terms of the designing, the investigation that you've done for 3 of the rooms, narrative first or evidence first, what's step one in building a believable case? And how do you approach building complex multi-stage, and also the little red herrings that you're throwing. How on earth do you come up with all of these ideas?
Obviously, being a private investigator, I see lots of real crimes.
Yes, of course.
I deal with a lot of historic cold case murders.
Right.
And for instance, I'm part of Jeremy Bamber's team.
Right.
So miscarriages of justice, and I've obviously taught as well for all crimes
Yes.
and different cases over the years. So for me, it's a case of, I'm not going to give my secrets away, by the way.
No, of course not. Don't.
But it's a case of designing what, if I was coming into this room, what would I expect? What would I want? And who's going to be killed? Who is the victim?
Yeah.
What what are they all about? Where they come from? And then build the characters, and have each of the characters has a reason to murder this person. It's just a case of fathoming out, why and how, and working your way through that. It's the most fascinating and fabulous experience to do it. I love that side of it, because it's like a writer writing a book.
Yes.
You have free reign. You can take that character anywhere you want, as long as it's believable. And with my background, and with Howard's background, I can say, well, would this really happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've experienced that in Grampian or whatever, and it's just basically making it so we take that investigation team of detectives, whether it's mum and family, for a birthday, whether it's, work, whether it's friends going out for a night out, and we take them on that journey. And it's exciting because they're actually finding this evidence.
Yes.
And then we come in, good cop, bad cop, and with some more evidence. And the closer to the hour and a half mark that we get, the more information that they get. And then it gets a little bit manic.
Yes.
And a little bit panicky. But they cope with it because they're, we've got this. And then they all start working in sync. And it's wonderful to see.
I can imagine it is. So in terms of what you're saying there, where's the balance between realism and entertainment? Because obviously you've got the vintage, the space station, and the Cobra. How do you apply each one? And obviously you do want to ground it in truth. I get that. But you've got to make it fun as well.
Yeah. I think with anything, whether you're writing a book, a novel, a crime novel, whether you're setting a scenario, you have to be sensitive that you can't say, oh, well, actually, I'm going to write it about, a real case.
Yeah.
Because you have families, you have
Absolutely.
relatives of both sides.
Yes.
People that say, oh, I remember that crime,
Yes.
so I know the answer.
Yes.
So what we do is we take sort of the medical legal side, so how that person has died. We take red herrings, so, that would be really good to put in there. We'll take sort of scenarios of real life, but not necessarily crimes. So perhaps somebody's had an affair, or somebody's had swindled their boss.
Yes.
Or something like that. We can build that into it from looking just through social media crimes that have happened, over the last century.
That's fantastic. So the meetings, is that literally when you both sat there and both using your experience, Howard, and your experience, Jen, to try and come up with the exact scenario? And the burning question I've got is, are they different every time? Because when I was at the escape room, we were specifically told, please don't mention anything about it, because you had other people coming in going, I know what the answer is because my mate told me.
We run the mousetrap scenario.
Right.
So if you've ever been to see Agatha Christie's Mousetrap at the cinema, honestly, at the theatre.
Yeah.
The principle is, don't spoil it.
No.
Don't spoil it for anyone else.
Absolutely.
But we are not naive enough to think that somebody's going to come and do the train room once. We don't want them to do it just once. We want you to come back.
Yeah.
Because we'll have different suspects, different characters, a whole different scenario. So these will be regenerated every 6 months.
Excellent.
So what it means is that you could, if you like that vintage feel, if you like Poirot, Marple, Agatha Christie, Conan Doyle, all of those sort of 1930s, the golden age of crime.
Yeah, it was.
Then you can come back with Gran, you can come back with, your family, you can come back with your work, and it will be different.
Right.
And because these things need to be refreshed. You know, we like to throw spanners in the works,
Yeah.
but it also keeps it fresh for us.
I think
you
so
know.
as well, yeah, because it keeps you both busy. And obviously, from your point of view, Howard, are you looking at it from, you know, you say to me that your life was through the lens of photographing all of these.
Yeah.
That must give you almost like forgive the phrase, photography memory. And you can say to Jen, well, actually, if we do this and this, and it's all about planting that evidence, like the whole thing in the suitcase was an absolute blinder.
And that was nothing to do with us.
Yeah,
It
I
was
know, but even
completely
so,
random,
though,
you know?
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, with this, we had people in about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
They'd solved it.
Wow,
right?
clever.
But we left them. For about 15 minutes before we did anything else. We went back in and they'd gone off and completely convinced themselves it was something else. And they'd gone off on a different tangent.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know? And we managed to just steer them back in time. Because we didn't want anybody to fail.
No.
You know? But we like to make them work hard.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
get to the right answer. You know?
Right. So are you there at the start and at the end of every single one? But if there's multiple ones, how do you just like jump from one to one?
The way it works, that as the 3 rooms are running all at once, we have it staged so we have phases. So all of the crimes have 4 phases. And obviously the final phase is you've got all the information, now you need to sort it. The first phase is you've got the witness statements, this is the crime.
Yeah.
It's the bit in the middle. So
Right.
the 2 phases in the middle. So with that, we literally go in and we add a little bit more information and we just carousel around. We go in together because sometimes we can miss things that people are asking.
Of course.
If there's 6 people in the room, you know, you need to make sure that you're giving them that full attention. And there's different forms of going in.
Right.
So obviously with our space room, we have robots, we have robot dogs.
Holographic fan.
Yeah. So all this information that's been given over.
Yeah.
You know, we have the Path A voiceovers.
Yeah.
We have distress signs from Houston.
Yeah.
We have, you know, and it all comes in, you know, as it's coming in, they're getting all this information, but we're managing it. So we actually go in, we are visible all of the time, going in with more information, but we leave them to it. So we just kind of, right, okay, they look as though they're, you know, just about got that bit of information. Right, let's give them some more. And
Evil.
And the lovely thing is, you know, they can ask questions. They can leave the room at any time. That, you know, to come back to the Peeler's Rest coffee house or to the toilet. They can do that. That's fine. They're not locked in. But it becomes so intense for them. You know, it's like an episode of Grace or Vera, or you know that. You get so invested that, you know, it's like, well, actually, I found this item of clothing. What does it mean? You know,
And it could mean nothing.
Well, absolutely. The wool in your particular case was an absolute red herring.
Yeah, and we had to go in and say, well, actually, the victim was a crafter.
So there you go.
Yeah, so we each experience is unique in that respect because the hypothesis that they, you know, create.
Yes.
And the journey that they go down, we know what the answer is.
Yes.
We've just got to kind of steer them
away.
it.
Yeah.
And it's so unique.
Or away from it.
Or away from it, yeah.
I was about to say, depending if they get it far too quick.
Well, they get the suspect too quickly, but not the reason why. So we ask them who, why, and how.
Yes.
And sometimes the how is quite obvious because it's a cold case, you know, or it's an obvious cause. But it's the how and the why.
Yeah.
And, you know, we need to know how and why. And we steer them. And then we've got extra clues that we can give. So everybody leaves with a sense of achievement, a sense of camaraderie.
Yeah.
And, you know, just a really exciting time that they've had.
Absolutely. I can imagine it all. So moving on then. So now I want to do story, evidence and fairness. So evidence, clarity versus the immersion. Okay, so I want you to think about how do you stop teams drowning in data? And you've lent perfectly into that because you do try and throw them as much data as they can, but there must be a point where they're going, you're just overloading me. Stop. So how do you balance that?
Because of the way that we actually structure the experience, we don't just say, right, okay, we've got fingerprints, we've got, you know, police intelligence, we've got, you know, forensic evidence that we've got back, we've got, you know, this item of clothing, we've got that, we've got, you know, this antecedents from this particular suspect. we don't load them all at once. We load it very strategically so they get the sort of area that we want them to look at. So we found a fingerprint.
Yes.
We won't give them the suspect's fingerprint straight away.
Right.
So they've got that fingerprint and they're working out what to do with it. It's about half an hour later, they actually get the fingerprints to match up with them. So we have it so they're not overloaded, but they've been given an opportunity to know what they should be doing with it.
Gotcha. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they look as though they're getting rather, stressed or, oh my goodness, we can't do this, we'll go in and we'll guide them.
Yeah.
So
a
it's
little
a case
bit of guidance.
Have you looked for, the evidence? Have you had a good look at the crime scene? With the UV lights, for instance, or have you looked through the laboratory in the space room, for example? Have you considered what the government have done in the cover room? And it's actually steering them, really gently. So they're making the decisions. We're just guiding them.
I do get that.
Yeah, I was walking down the corridor to one of the teams, and they saw me coming, and they said, "Oh, he's coming. He's got some more information." So I just turned around and walked away
evil
again.
bugger, you
and left
evil
them for
bugger.
another 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's great that you're doing that because you're obviously feeding their immersiveness and trying to get them to feel as part of it as much as they can.
Absolutely. It's not regimented.
No.
And I think that's what makes us unique. You go into, for example, an escape room and it's regimented. There is one way to get out,
Yes,
and there's one sort of pathway of
if you've got somebody who's really clever, you can be out there in 20 minutes.
well, yet 30% of people go out in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Where with us, there's no way you're getting out of there before 2 hours because you
No,
haven't
but that's
got-
your money's worth, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's really good. From my experience in the escape room, we could do multiple things. So a party went off and did that, a party went off and did that, and we all came together to pull it. But there was absolute regiment. We could have only have done it one way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the lovely thing about this is because there's so much evidence that we can have, two of the detectives looking through the crime scene, looking through our actual train carriage.
Yeah.
We can have two of the members that are looking at the fingerprints and the others that are reading the witness statements or, seeing the witness statements on video screen that we have. So it means that then they are they have that immersive experience, and it's not about ability to read or ability to understand.
Yes.
In that respect, it's neurodiverse friendly.
Yeah.
And I think it can do 97 languages. The package that we've got,
my goodness
so
me, so it's really clever.
it is really clever, and it means that you look as though you're actually interviewing that person.
Yeah,
which
I'm
is
with you.
which is great.
No, it's fantastic, that, isn't it?
But yeah, it's just a case of making it unique, and it's almost a bespoke investigation for each person.
Oh, absolutely.
Although it's the same investigation, it's bespoke in that where they take it and how we.
I was
stand
about
back.
to say though, Jen, that must give you a great sense of satisfaction because even if you got me and let's say me and Howard going in and solving it, we're working towards the same goal, but the path we'll take is completely different to the people over here.
Absolutely.
And you can guide that. So it must give you a great buzz to feel and see this.
Yeah, there is nothing better than waking up on a morning, it's Monday morning, and you go into work and I can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
And, I work with some fantastic people and I love what I do. And I love the fact that it's a dream that's come true.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So one of the things I do want to pick up on there is you mentioned about laboratories, you mentioned about UV lights. Yeah. How do you cope with the prop density, with it being readable documents, digital logs, witness files? So what give us an example in the crime, in the vintage train carriage. Do you have UV lights? Do you have all of these things?
Well, not in the train carriage.
Well, in the train carriage, we've got the UV lights for them to check as new investigators.
Yes, yeah.
So
I'm with you.
2026
Yeah,
investigators.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But not as a functional thing as part of the investigation. We keep it traditional. So, the information you'll get a telegram.
Oh gosh.
They didn't have emails.
No, they wouldn't have done.
They didn't have CCTV then, so we can't do that. So that's where we put the technology in when we go in. So it's a Pathe
Yes, as you mentioned,
radio
right.
report,
Yeah.
which is actually me, but I sound like the Queen.
Oh, very good indeed.
I do, absolutely. I sound like Claire Foy.
Yeah.
Which is unique.
Yes,
if nothing
I can
else.
imagine.
But yeah, so we do. So we keep it very, very of the era.
Yes.
And the nice thing about that is the space room is completely different.
Well,
so,
of course.
DNA and technology and sparkly lights and a table that lights up when you touch it.
Yeah.
And holographic fans and, things like that. So people, when they go into that, they're expecting something that's
Well,
more
of course
technical.
they will. As you quite rightly said, if I go into the 1930s train carriage, I would expect, I wouldn't have expected, but that's it. I'd expect it to hit the era that I'm walking into. Like I wouldn't have a video screen in the 1930s. The Cobra room, I probably would. And
We've got
absolutely.
3.
Yeah, but absolutely. In the other room, you'd expect it to have the holographs because it is that space age. Okay.
yeah.
So fairness philosophy, what's the rule of the clues that you do? How do you give that fairness? Because you're right, Howard, one of the points you said, you might say something, I've got it now. So how do you clarify that I'm not going to give them too much information? Or I will give them too much.
Well, like Jen said, it's a 4 stages.
Right.
So when they come in, they'll be told that all of our detectives are busy. They've been called away, so we've called you guys in to solve
Fabulous.
this. solve
Lens
this
to the
crime.
story.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've got some witness statements, so they'll get them and be able to study them. They'll go to the room, and then, we'll just dribble. And they don't get enough clues to make a decision
Yes.
until the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And then they get so many that the penny drops.
Yes, of
because they're
course.
all then invested in. We've got a bit of a hypothesis. Halfway through, we will say to them, "Have you got a clue as to what's going on here?"
We'll just say, the chief inspector's just been on the phone. He wants to know where you are.
Yeah, where you are. So you're asking for updates. Yeah. So it allows them to clarify as well. It's like, right, what information have we got now? What do we believe? It might not be the right answer, but what do we currently believe? And that must give you the sense of, hang on, they're going too fast here. Let's slow them down a little bit. Or the miles off.
Yeah.
Let's gently push them in the right direction.
It's just like what you see, all the crime programs on the telly.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the same thing that they
It is.
go through.
Absolutely. It's the same format.
It's the same principle,
Yeah.
that towards the end of an episode of whether it's Grace, Morse,
Yes.
Endeavour, whatever it is that floats your boat, when you get to that last half hour, all of a sudden you'll get some information that is so key
Yes.
that it steers you. But then you've got to not just say who it is, you've got to say why.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that is we challenge stereotypes through this. So to begin with, we've got one scenario where there's a chap called Dirty Sid, and it's exactly as he sounds. And it challenges stereotypes. People automatically say, previous for various different crimes, it must be him. Oh no, it's not him. Oh, because we then have an alibi for him later on. So they're able to kind of create a timeline and a murder board in the rooms, with all the information that we give them, and it just sparks that conversation.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely.
We love it. We absolutely love it.
I can imagine this. Let's just move on to that then. So behind the scenes then, so this is, really quite interesting and so that. How do you sort of like reset the choreography between the runs? How do you define what hints? Or, like you've probably already alluded to, is it literally on the fly, dependent on the people in the room?
Can be.
Well, I was going to can be. And one of the other things, and I love, Jen, that you've already picked this up because I thought about this exactly with the accessibility, the lightning, the mobility, and the neurodiversity.
Yeah, that was something that was really, really important to us. Having a space that is open to all is something that not a lot of businesses can do.
Absolutely not.
We're in a fortunate position that, we can have 2 of our rooms downstairs, as well as our crime lounge, as well as our Peeler's Rest, that are fully accessible. My son is dyslexic.
Right.
I've taught numerous students over the years with similar neurodiversities, and sometimes you have to approach that with, when you're preparing lectures and things like that, you have to sort of approach it where it's accessible for everybody.
Absolutely, you've got to.
Because that's only fair.
Yeah.
And I personally have had spinal surgery before, so climbing up those 4 flights of stairs you were saying before, it's not necessarily an option.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not something that, I would expect my, say, for instance, an elderly grandmother to be able to do, or an elderly mother, or, somebody who perhaps is recovering from, injury.
Yeah.
But without that, it doesn't make it accessible to everybody. So it's really important to us to have that.
No, I think that's okay then.
It's a provision that we have where, we've got the vintage train carriage, the space room, the cobber room. We're opening that up to a sort of demographic of 16 right the way through to 80, 90.
Yeah, 90, I was about to say,
So we have to be able to accommodate for that provision and basically put our money where our mouth is, and that's really important. It's not just a sort of fly-by-night kind of, oh, yes, we do accommodate. We genuinely do.
Yeah.
And that's really important to us.
No, that's very good. So what about resetting the choreography between the runs and the horse training, the hint systems? How on earth do you manage all of that? I love the fact you both looked and went, how do we manage
It's a live situation.
Yeah. I think because we know we've got the frameworks already set up for the investigations. So we know if this was a sort of a book, we know how this book would be written for each of them. Sometimes those frameworks, as long as we know what that framework is and we can draw them back to it, then that's great. I think what's lovely is sometimes letting the client, letting the detective go down this little route and just to see where it goes, just to see because
it might give us some ideas for the next time.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah. And what's lovely is this is their journey. We're just facilitating to make, in real life, detectives sometimes, I know it's surprising this, but sometimes get it wrong.
No.
They do.
Apparently.
They do.
Apparently.
They do.
Wow.
But sometimes they're taking down roads that they think are right and they're absolutely appallingly wrong. But they still go down those routes. And I think when you're saying to somebody, you are the detective, you're sitting into their shoes, you're given what is a witness statement, which is an MG11, which is, we actually put them on real MG11 forms.
Right.
So they really feel like they're getting involved with it. And because of that, we try to keep all of the props as real as possible,
right,
as they would be,
whether it's the severed arm, that's not real.
No, that's not real. The severed arm that we put in our fridge in the laboratory, just
thank goodness for that.
Which is
to report you,
which is quite hilarious when we say don't look in the fridge. The first thing that they do is look in the fridge, but because it's slightly bigger than the fridge, because it's just a small desktop fridge, it sort of bounces out, So it's we told you,
funny every time.
It is. We laugh.
Yes.
They don't, but we laugh. But it's just basically going on that journey with them and making sure that, if they do something wrong, this is all about a learning process as well. So if it is for a workplace, we make mistakes at work. Everybody does. Everybody does. And I think it's how, as a team, you rectify that. So if you've gone off on a tangent, it's like, oh, we will sort of see that tangent. We'll let them ride it a bit. And then we'll come in and say, actually, we've just got some more police intelligence.
Yes. Right.
And then they'll go, oh, no.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
It's very interesting you say that, Jen, because one of the things, funny enough, when I was talking to the rest of the team about, I'm going to interview you about the detective rooms, and obviously it sparks off discussions. One of the other lads was saying, he said, well, when we are diagnosing a problem with a PC, we are investigating it. And I've always said to my team that we are not trying to find out what the problem is. 9 times out of 10, we are going, right, I've eliminated that. I've eliminated that, I've eliminated that, I've eliminated that. Therefore, and I think it's in its spot logically, it can only be that. One of the things that I found interesting that you said is that I think it was about a month, 2 months ago, I gave an issue to one of my team.
Yeah.
I knew what the answer was, but this is all part of me. Stop being the bottleneck, Andy. So I'm trying to go solve it, guys.
Yeah.
It can't be me all the time. I saw them go off down this route and I was like, nope. You're heading off completely down the wrong direction, but I've got to let you go. I've got to let you make that mistake.
Yeah.
And then they got the answer correctly, and I went, How on earth did you get the answer going down that road? And because they'd misunderstood something, their whole logic was flawed whilst they went down this road. But actually, they got to the right answer. So 2 negatives made a right.
Yeah, well, it's working through that sort of that thought process, because actually, you know, investigation is something that's paramount in every job role.
Well, it is. 100%.
You know, whether you're a nurse,
Yeah.
whether you're obviously a police officer, which you would expect it to be, but you know, if you're working in a marketing office and you know, your client comes and says, actually, this brand is just not working for me.
Yeah.
You know, that's still an investigation, because you still need to ask open questions. You still need to, you know, find out from the client, well, what actually is it that you need?
Yeah.
What's not working for you? What is working for you? How can we solve that problem?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, the evidence is key. And I think what this does on a work level, no matter which room you go to, on a work level, it sparks that sort of that thought process of, actually, let's take a step back and let's see how as a team we can solve this. And when you get different sort of people coming in and say, actually, we've got this issue's coming, we've got this piece of intelligence, you know, Howard and I coming in, putting the spanner in the works. That could quite easily be, you know, the client coming back and saying, oh, actually, no, I didn't really mean that. What I actually meant was. So it's giving the team that chance to kind of have that fast pace, critical thinking, logical thinking, communication, actually saying, you know, what about this really weird idea that I've got here that actually works?
Yeah.
You know, that actually kind of takes you to that solution.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we can facilitate that with, you know, a team where you might have, this has actually happened previously, where you have a workplace and a really well-established, really nice workplace. And this particular client had one person who left and another person who was a really loved member of the team. And somebody took their place.
Right.
And the person that took their place literally completely obliterated all of the camaraderie in the whole office. And there was a lot of distrust, and they eventually left. But what then left was a broken team.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden couldn't find that gap to communicate again.
Yeah.
Was very cautious about what they were saying to each other. Didn't quite feel as comfortable in work, and everybody should feel as though they're coming into work,
absolutely.
you know, and feel comfortable, and because then they get the best.
Yeah.
So actually putting something into place like this, it gives them that almost that restart button.
Yeah,
you know,
that's really good. Howard, one of the things that is also part of the detective rooms, and Jen's already alluded to it, is the team building, it's the community, it's the education, but also you're running, you know, a bit of a networking group, and obviously that must be something close to your heart from coming from the FSB. Did you see the detective rooms, as well as offering the immersive experience, did you see the detective rooms as another opportunity to bring people together?
Absolutely, yeah, because I mean, you know, networking for the last 9.5 years of my life has been what I've done.
Well, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
and done fabulously. I'm glad.
100% would not argue with that statement.
So it's a perfect option to do something slightly different.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had our first network event last week.
Yeah, and
which
it was really
good. Loads of positive, you know, out of it. But when everything's done and open, the idea is that if we get, you know, a group of people who come into one of our networking events, there's 3 rooms they can go to. If they want to talk about, you know, what they've done in the past, you know, successes and things like that, they can go to the railway room, 1930s, at the old time. If they want to talk about the future and what their plans are, they can go to the space room.
Yeah.
Right? Or if they want to talk about, you know, local government or
strategies,
they can go up to the copper room. You know, so there's 3 different areas, and they can move around between those areas. You can't do that anywhere else.
No.
A normal networking event is a room with, you know, more people in that you can probably shake a stick at and talk to.
Yeah, yeah.
Or, you know, we could accommodate up to 20, 25 people would be a nice number.
Yeah, yeah.
Just be able to wander between the rooms, talk about different things, you know, meet people like that. And the other thing is, when we've spoke about this as well, why did we charge £5 for our networking? Well, if you go to a free networking event, It's going to cost you £3 or £4 for a coffee.
Yeah.
You're probably going to spend anything up to £8 for parking, depending on where it is.
There it is, yeah.
Is that free? No.
It's not free. But we've got free parking and we give you free coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's nice coffee as well.
It is nice.
Yeah,
It's really good nice coffee, yeah.
So yeah,
I'm teaching Howard how to use a coffee machine.
it's taken a few weeks.
He needs a bit more practice.
Yeah, I know. You just kettle.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the kettle?
What's more, nothing wrong with the kettle, mate.
So yeah, it was just an opportunity to do that. But we've also now thought about, let's just open it up to do a slightly different type of network. And so we're doing like a body and soul.
Yes, yeah.
A women type network. I'll not be there. I'll be locked in my office upstairs probably by Jen. But yeah, so we're taking that on as well.
Yeah.
Something we're looking at now to maybe. So we have 2 events a month. Normal networking and body and soul type. Women networking.
And it's really important to note that everybody is welcome to the networking events. The body and soul networking is generated towards females. It's women in business who I've been there.
Yes.
Where I've gone to networking meetings, not Howard's, I might add, but been to networking meetings where you've been overshadowed and. As a female entrepreneur, it's sometimes difficult to kind of to get your voice heard. And unfortunately, that is the case. But as a woman in business, we do face different challenges. And it's really nice to actually have that setting where, you can come along and actually, you can speak to other female entrepreneurs and business owners and be able to kind of in a really safe place.
Yeah.
And I applaud that, really.
No, absolutely. What interestingly, when obviously, as Howard knows, we're part of the Darlington business, and one of the interesting things that Michelle always finds is that Michelle, who works and goes to these events, obviously works in IT, but she does IT. When she meets other females in the IT industry, and I'm being very general and stuff like that, they typically go, "Oh, I'm just in marketing. I'm just sales. I've got no clue about IT." And Michelle's like, well, actually, I find IT very interesting, but it's a complete diverse thing. It's really different.
Try going to a networking meeting and saying you're a private investigator. Yeah.
I'm not talking to you. Anyway, move on.
The amount of times I've been asked, how can I get rid of my spouse, is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah. But, we have these events, but that doesn't mean that you can't just pop down,
absolutely. No, absolutely. I understand all of that. So again, according to what your website says, you've got teams that use the Crime Lounge, you've got subscription boxes, take-home investigations, and you also offer corporate training and academic use cases. Yeah. So is that you as a business trying to diversify, to try and go, we are effectively offering as much as we possibly can with the facility we've got?
We have a 7,000 square foot unit. I know you've been there.
I've been once, to see it all.
It's huge.
It was probably in a very poor state when I first saw it.
Changed a bit.
It's fabulous now.
All I remember, it was bloody freezing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The heating works now. We've got a new boiler.
Thank God for that.
Radiators work.
Yeah. It's glorious now.
I might have to revisit then just to relive memories.
Well, absolutely. And that's a lovely thing because, we've got the Peelers Club.
Yes.
Which means that, if you want to have a nice quiet space to, do some hot desking or, in a comfortable space, not sterile desks and chairs and tables, somewhere where it's actually, really comfortable. We can bring you tea and coffee while you're doing it. Join our Peelers Club.
Yeah.
And it's there for people who just want to pop in, We're always there, unless we're here. This is the first Friday afternoon we've had off.
I know, since January the 5th.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I should be thanked then.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Hopefully you're not going back to work after this, are you?
No.
Thank goodness.
It was really weird. We locked the door last night. It's Thursday evening, and I said, Jen, we're not going to be opening this again until Monday morning.
Wow.
How weird is that?
How weird is that?
We've been working Saturdays and late at night.
And Sundays. And
just to get things sorted out. But I mean, some of those things in there, and we've got lots of future ideas, which may be a question.
It is actually funny enough. Stop. Silly my thunder, Howard. Bless you, my friend. But that is actually really good. Thank you. It is the future roadmap. So what's next for the detective rooms? I've got a couple of things to throw into here for you. KPIs, marketing wins, the Durham community, that comes across phenomenally on your website, which I must congratulate you for.
It's a phenomenal website, I have to say.
You've got dream tech upgrades, artificial intelligence, RFID, and what is your bucket list detective IP that you'd love to adopt?
Gosh, where did I start with that?
I did tell you I'd done my homework again.
Yeah. I must go home and read the website. But I mean, I think we've got some. Every now and then, Jen will say,
Oh, he hates me for this.
I've got an idea. And I just go, oh.
I've been thinking. And Howard puts his hand in his head in his hands and groans. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know, but if I don't tell you now, I'll forget.
Yes.
So, and I have these ideas and it comes as a bit of a sort of seed that like grows. And sometimes, we say, look, Jen, we've got to pack that for later. Like, come on. Global domination, not this week.
Not this week.
But sometimes we have things that, it's like our detective day that I said, Howard, this is what, I want to do this. And it was a sort of a seed for a whole new kind of thing.
Right, okay.
That is so exciting.
No, exactly. But sorry, coming back to you, Howard, you were saying about some of the things that you want to do. So, obviously, how can I ask respectfully how many people work for the detective room? I mean, obviously, it sounds like you used to at the moment.
It is, basically.
Yeah. But what's the plan? What's the goal?
Well, obviously we want to. The more people we get in with, the more staff we're going to need.
Absolutely.
Okay, because we need people on hand there, and we're open from 9 in the morning till 9 at night when it's up
Goodness
and running,
me.
right? So the last session is 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So they're not going to finish till 9:30 by the time they all stop chatting.
Long days, then.
Yeah, could well be, yeah. So we're going to need other people there to help us with that. Whether it's receptionists, someone to just work the coffee machine, because I can't.
Because you can't.
He will learn. He will learn.
But so there's a lot coming that way. But as far as the premises and the business is concerned, we've got 7,000 square feet. We've got a huge warehouse that we're hopefully getting change of use on, so we can do things in there as well. So one of the text messages I got from Jen recently, it just said Bridgerton room.
Yeah. So my thought was, obviously, we're looking to create a crime village in the warehouse,
Right.
which we obviously have 2 rooms in there already, which obviously lead from the main part of the building. So we're looking in the future to have a courtroom where it can be used for training, as well as you being, instead of the detectives, you're the jury. We're having a Bridgerton room.
You said we are having.
Yes. I'm setting this in stone, and once it goes on the air, it's set in stone.
Howard, bless you, I can imagine. Even I'm doing it now. It's like, Jen.
And a Culloden room.
Oh, my goodness me.
Yeah. So we have something that's, a little bit, Saudi, and a little bit,
Yeah.
Bridgerton. So it's
Just get a Timmy Mallet hat and just go, Jen, get back.
It's like whack-a-mole.
Yeah. Whack-a-mole is just, but these ideas are fabulous.
And in the middle, we're having a outdoor crime scene.
Well, that's just wonderful.
Which will be obviously a garden with a tree in it.
Oh, God, and that's great.
So,
I mean, obviously, I'm checking the time, but one of the things I do want to say to both of you is the amount of passion and the amount of energy flowing this way. It's like, and I'm a loud, passionate person. Can I just say, it's fantastic to see. What you've taken from a little idea about what you've done and what you've both done to it. Honestly, you have my whole heart.
Thank you.
Absolutely unbelievable.
You've got to love what you do. And the wonderful thing is, I'm incredibly lucky to have Howard on board as operations manager.
Absolutely.
I'm incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
But we come to work and, it's not a chore.
No.
It's something that's really exciting, and we can see the future with this. We can see how it can grow, how it can build, and it's just so exciting.
It's just I can't wait to be more involved. And I know we spoke about that off air, but I can't wait to be more involved to help, and I can't wait to see this grow. I'm super excited with it as well. So really, thank you so much for your time. One of the things I'm trying to finish off with every podcast is I put my thinking cap on, and I'm going to give you a quick fire round.
All right.
Okay, so first answer that pops into your head, fast answers only.
Mm-hmm.
You
Okay.
have no time to call forensics. Okay, are you ready?
Okay.
Sherlock or Poirot?
Sherlock.
Sherlock.
Sherlock. Best single clue, footprint, receipt, or browser history? Ha ha!
Footprint.
Yeah, footprint.
Footprint,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm
right,
agreeing with everything she says now.
Okay, no, yeah, just agree how it's easy. Yeah. Most overused TV crime trope they refuse to use.
What does trope mean?
You should know, come on.
Gosh. Revenge.
Revenge. There you go.
Yeah.
It is, because it is
Yeah,
always
revenge.
because it is always, I'll get you for this.
Yes.
It was
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah.
did this. Okay, fine. Yeah, exactly. Dream team of detectives. You're allowed 3, alive or historical.
Oh,
prefer
Sherlock
well,
again.
for me,
Yeah.
it would be if they can they be fictional?
Absolutely.
Yeah, lovely. I think Zena Scott Archer, and she actually was a private detective.
Wow.
She was a real lady private detective with the Association of British Investigators. Definitely Miss Marple. Definitely. Her cunning little hats and a cunning little knitting. I just love it.
Right.
And I would say Strike.
Oh, now there's a left field one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Howard, your good self.
Well, I like Clouseau.
All right, okay.
Just
Love
because
him.
it's
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just as a minky.
Yeah.
Have you got the minky?
I've just watched something recently on television called Patience.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, right. Okay. So that's a good one.
That's a really good. She's amazing.
Right.
Autistic criminal records, but she works.
Yeah.
She's working for the detectives. Brilliant. And the last one, I'd have gone for Strike. Actually, thinking about it. The
Well, you
last.
could go for Robin Ellicott instead.
No, go on, Howard. That's something different.
Something different. Yeah. Oh gosh, that was.
You had it.
I had it. It was an old-time American investigator.
Charlie Chan?
No. Modern times, but set in the old times.
Oh. Give us a clue. Give us a clue and I'll try and solve it.
Sort of 1930s, 40s. It was, and he was very autistic. The chap, very
OCD.
Okay.
OCD about it. Oh, I'm going to have to go home and find out.
Go home and find out. We'd have him as well.
Yeah, because he's just like off the wall.
Off the wall.
really,
Stuff like that.
yeah.
Oh, you don't mean Monk?
No, not more good. It's just set earlier than that in time. But
No. You go home.
completely
It's gonna
gone.
bug
It'll
But
bug
I
him
can
now.
see his face. I
Yeah.
can see the case.
I'd have Frank Drebin because he's just so funny.
Frank Drebin.
He's just hilarious.
Yeah.
One of the things before I go into the last one is, again, when I was trying to think about what you do today,
Yeah.
you took me back because you're right. Crime TV is like, if you look at every single part of history, it's been there, whether it is with Conan Doyle.
Yeah.
And to me, I was brought up with my father. And when anybody else says Sherlock Holmes, and because I'm old, I just call Basil Rathbone. He's the quintessential
absolutely.
Sherlock Holmes.
Absolutely.
To me, he was absolutely. Now, obviously, fast forward, you've got the new cases. You've got the one with Mr. Stripe, whatever, Tony Stark. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But also, you've got now the you've got Amazon doing the young Sherlock.
Yeah.
So all the way through with Monk, with Columbo. Just one more thing.
Yeah, Ironside.
Ironside on his
Yeah.
wheelchair. It's always been there. I think the public, the human nation, they've all had this interest in trying to go, if I was me, I'd solve that. They all love that, which is why I think you've got the
Well, they
great
can.
idea.
They can come and do it. They
Well,
can
there you
be
go.
the detective.
There you go.
Yeah.
Final question. One word teams should remember when they begin a case.
Evidence.
That's not the word you were going to say, I
No,
don't think.
we had a saying, a little thing.
Oh, was it the ABC?
Yeah.
So it's a policing acronym. So it's accept nothing, believe nothing, and challenge everything.
Now, interestingly, we have one for IT. Accept nothing, believe nothing, and check everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do get these little things, don't you? Yeah, I love that one to say. So listen, absolutely fantastic, unbelievable to have you on as a guest.
Thank you
I
so
can't
much.
believe what's going to be happening. I can foresee the future for this, and I just think you are going to become the centre hub of Durham. And dare I say, will you then franchise it and move it across the UK?
Well, funnily enough, the last 2 days.
Funnily enough, Jen's had
Yeah.
a
Well,
text.
no.
Howard.
The last 2
Jen's
days,
had an idea.
we've had 2 meetings with 2 different people, and that's the question they both asked.
Yeah. Franchising is something that we are looking at. Ideally, the long-term business plan was to have our next branch in Edinburgh, Glasgow, Manchester, Leeds, Bristol, Cardiff.
Wherever.
But basically university towns. But I see a huge future for this.
Yes,
I'm very, very
absolutely.
confident with that.
Yeah.
And, I think it's something that, Howard and I will go down that journey and we'll be a lot happier at the end of it. So,
I'll tell you what, it's another interesting question then. If you could put a billboard in Edinburgh saying coming soon, give me 5 words.
You be the detective.
Yeah.
Hang on, that's only 4.
Soon.
Okay.
You be the detective soon. Coming soon.
You be the detective, detectiverooms.co.uk.
Well, exactly.
I
I
see.
like it. Well done, Jen. Always thinking. So again, massive thanks to both of you. I hope we'll get some interesting, welcoming comments from all of our listeners, all 5 of them.
Cool.
Well, if they want to, have a look themselves, there's their website.
Well, funny enough, you're stealing my thunder. So,
Oh, sorry.
No, and this is great because it's the way that you think. So finally, before we move on to the last question of the day, how can people get hold of you? What do they need to do? Where do they need to go?
So there's various ways they can get hold of us. You can go onto our LinkedIn page,
Okay.
or our Facebook page, all of which are Detective Rooms, Instagram and TikTok.
Yes.
So obviously we've got all the socials
Well, of
there.
course you have.
Alternatively, you can drop either Howard or myself an email. So jen@detectiverooms.co.uk or Howard at, or you can give us a ring on 0191 925 0598, which is our office number.
Or you can check into the website. At the
Yep.
top of the page of the website, it'll ask you for your email address. One, it means we can keep you up to date with all the things that are going on.
Well, absolutely.
Secondly, it means you'll get 10% off if you book a room.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of things coming, particularly in May, that are huge.
Huge. Well, that's fantastic. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you
what
for
we
having
do-
us.
Because it was ideal when I spoke to you both earlier on about this. I thought you'll be perfect for the podcast. It's and I can't believe how, if you like, how exciting it's going to be for you. It really is fantastic. So as you know, Howard, when we did the last episode of the podcast, we always end with, "What are you doing for the weekend?" Last time you were doing 1,000,001 things.
This weekend,
Yes.
I'm not doing anything.
That's a complete change from last time.
I know.
Oh, and
Last time you were like, Saturday I'm doing this,
That's right.
and this.
Yeah, yeah,
Sunday I'm
yeah.
doing this,
Yeah.
and this.
This is a well-earned Saturday off for Howard.
Oh,
So,
bless you, my friend. Well,
yeah.
good. So good. It's
yeah.
been a long weekend. So, and what about yourself, Jen?
My wonderful husband is taking me out for a meal tonight.
And well deserved. Well deserved.
Who has been incredibly supportive.
bless
So has Anna as well.
Yeah,
my
Howard's
wife,
both partners have been so supportive for this, which, so he's taking me out for a meal tonight. We'll
Anywhere
have a nice
nice?
time. Yes, to La Porta in Norton, which is a really nice, quite small Italian restaurant, which is really
Italian,
nice. Yeah. And it's just giving me a chance to, catch up with him and tell him all about what's happening this week and the podcast that we've been on.
And my wife overheard that.
Yes.
So that looks like that's what I'm doing as well now.
Well, fair enough. I'm very lucky
Different
because
place.
obviously my wife Michelle runs the business with me, so we do have 24/7.
Oh,
together.
that's no excuse.
No, but last weekend it was celebrating my birthday, so we went to
Oh, many happy returns.
Salt Fish in Darlington, which was fantastic.
Oh, yes. My godson's father is the chef there.
Yeah, it's just honestly out of this world. I'm a massive, huge food person. Obviously, again, interestingly, I'm half Italian, so I love my Italian food as well.
Oh, lovely.
Seafood and Italian food. I'm just like, yep, that's me done.
Yeah. Saltfish. Well, I will let Simon know that you really enjoyed it.
Honestly, it was fantastic. They're always good service, and it's actually quite nice. We don't go in there that often, but they always recognise us.
That's nice. That's nice, you know.
Yeah,
It's about the customer journey again.
Yeah.
Well, funny enough, how do you know that? And I think one of the things that was probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was chatting to somebody. So long story short, COVID. We used to go into a restaurant quite a lot. I won't name the restaurant. We used to go into quite a lot. And then COVID happened, so obviously you couldn't.
Yeah.
Everything happened and reopened. We went back into this restaurant that we probably hadn't been in for about, I would say, 2 years. And the waiter, I clocked the waiter and I recognised him. But he came over and he went, Mr. and Mrs. Reid, how are you? And I went,
And that's lovely.
kidding me, you still remember us? And he went, always remember good customers. And I'm not saying that to
Yeah.
but we were always nice and we'd always tip. And we're always just pleasant with people. And that's just 2 years he remembered us.
It's important that customers aren't just money through the till. They're not just numbers. You know, they're the people who are, you know, going to be your advocate. They're going to be going out and saying, what an absolutely fantastic time we had.
Yes.
You know, and all it takes is just that little bit of I just think care and common decency and
Care and common decency.
You know,
There's time and time and time. I've got loads of stories, but we've run out of time. But there's time and time again where I think there are these people that are, if you like, one of the things they've got to do is deliver bad news. Your flight is delayed or whatever. And the amount of times I see people exploding at these people, and I'm like, it's not their fault. They're delivering a message.
yeah.
Absolutely, just chill out. I think the whole world has gone mad in terms of,
Life is too short.
life's too short, Jen.
But it's not too short to come to the detective rooms.
Please
That's
don't
the
do
thing.
that. Please don't do that. I'm working tomorrow for most of the day, but that's my choice because we're doing a massive migration from a customer.
Wow.
And then Sunday, I am upgrading my arcade machine. For my birthday, you probably don't, 80s arcade machine, I just love them. And I got purchased a light gun. So I'm going to plug in my light gun and start playing the old games where you shoot at the TV
Excellent.
screen. So that'll be me.
Excellent.
Absolutely. So, everybody, Jen, Howard, thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you for having us.
Unbelievable. Thank you, and I hope everybody has a nice weekend. See you later. Bye.